Hi, my name is Lenny with Bottom Line Results, and I'm here today with Frank Durdick, and Frank is with Fail-Safe Recruiting, and thanks for being with us today, Frank.
Glad to be here.
Great. Now you work with companies on doing personality type assessments. Why do you feel like it's important for companies to do that type of function before hiring someone?
Yeah, I think, Lenny, it's important because as an old past president said once, trust everyone but verify. And that's all this is verifying. It's we do it when we buy a piece of equipment. We get different bids on the quality, on the features, on the delivery. We do it when we get a babysitter, when we get a doctor, when we get an attorney. We ask different people. Today in recruiting, it's a lot tougher because reference checks are a little bit shy about giving out data and the legal matters. So here's a great way to verify and get some confirmation, and it works. So that's one of the major reasons.
Okay, now some employers might complain, oh well, I'm going to spend $95 for each and every assessment. Isn't that kind of expensive? What would you say to that?
Well, a lot of people look at it as an expense. A lot of people look at it as an investment. Not only does it give you a chance to evaluate, make a decision on a hire, but it also tells you if you're going to hire the person, where are their strengths? What can they do really well? What are the areas that they need development? So maybe before they're hired, maybe you do some training, you do some development once they're on board, and maybe for future potential jobs, you see where they can go in the organization. So it's a good investment for that, and of course the cost of making a hiring mistake are huge, and so for the price, that's pretty cheap in insurance and a good investment.
Sure, and all the expression about prevention is cheaper than cure.
Without a doubt.
Goes with that. And how much do you think really a company might be able to save, Frank, with this type of assessment?
That's a real provocative subject, Lenny, because there's turnover statistics that you have to put as a company what it costs to replace. So a lot of companies are a little bit leery about saying what the costs really are sometimes. But if you look at Harvard Business Review, if you look at New York Times, if you look at SHRM, if you look at all the different organizations, Saratoga Institute, it's anywhere from 1 times the annual salary and even higher. Even the most conservative estimates at 6 months, if you look at that and say, well, let's hire somebody at $40,000, we made a bad mistake. All right, now that's $20,000, half, and let's see, it takes, with 10% profit margin after taxes, that's a $200,000 sale to get back. The difficult part, though, is that it's fuzzy, it's gray, it's hidden. It's not an actual cost, it's out there. But I like to say, hire smart, manage easy, save money.
Right, and it doesn't even include the frustration level of, again, that transition where you're missing a key team player and everyone has to do double or triple duty.
Well, absolutely, and some of those hidden costs are in areas like that, unemployment insurance, and the morale and general productivity, and the training, and if you lose a customer, so that's where you can get that 1 times annual salary on a key customer loss, for example.
I'm sure it can snowball quickly too.
Absolutely.
Now, some employers might say, and I've heard it myself, and I think I may have said it way back, I kind of get a gut feeling about people, and I just go with my gut. Do you feel like that's a very good idea?
You know, people that are executives didn't get to be where they are by not being pretty smart, pretty savvy, but we all have a bit of an ego, and we all think we can interview really well. And some can, but most can't. And that gut feeling, psychologists call the halo effect. And that halo effect causes someone to get a distorted view. They like them, they feel good with them, they feel comfortable with them. They can see, I can work with this person. I could delegate to them. I could, add on the work. I could counsel them. I could change things, and my life would be really nice. So during the interview, all their questions they get answered validate that feeling about likability. Right. But if you stop and think and say, you know what, maybe I don't like somebody and they're going to be really good. An auditor who's going to check on expense statements, who's going to look at all the policies and procedures. They may be dry, not very fun, not very likable, but they are going to do a great job. You have to fight that feeling and make sure that you're doing it. And when you use an assessment that is consistent, it's objective, and the facts speak for themselves.
So somebody may not even click with someone that would be a great candidate or a great hire just because personality differences, but yet for that job that they're going to be doing, that's may be exactly the right person that they want to hire, even if they didn't necessarily gel with them immediately.
Exactly. You want to be a devil's disciple, you want to be contrarian, Major corporations that make big decisions, they bring in people outsiders just to do that very thing.
Sure.
So that everybody doesn't have a group thing and say, this sounds great. Somebody stands and says, wait a minute, let's think this through. Let's push back.
And then the whole herd goes off the cliff if you're
Well,
hiring identical
it can happen.
personalities. Absolutely. You mentioned too, Frank, that it's critical to have exact criteria when you're going in, employers going in to make a hiring decision. Why is that important, do you feel?
It's crucial because when you want to buy a car, you say, that's the model I want. That's great. Hopefully when they go to Detroit, they're going to have a spec and build it just like you saw it.
That'll be useful.
When you buy a house, you look at the model, you want somebody to have the framework and everything done like that.
Sure.
And so it is with what you need to fill that job. You want to talk to the employees that are great employees. You want to talk to supervisors who manage those jobs. You want to get down what the technical factors are. For an accountant, for example, you want to know, is it cost accounting, is it budgeting, is it forecasting, is it inventories, and you want to know the soft factors. What kind of commitment, what kind of communication skills, what kind of teamwork. You want all of that down so that you can get the person that you really want for that job. There's an old saying in management, you can't manage what you can't measure. So you want to manage that interview and have measurable items that are very clear.
Absolutely. I wish I had an assessment like this a long time ago. It would have made my life a lot easier and less damage control afterward. Frank, you've also said, or why do you think key personality factors are more important sometimes than the technical factors in a candidate?
This is a real interesting area, and it's going to really surprise a lot of people. They've done studies, the American Electronics Association says that, and they've done studies, 78% of the time, the reasons people are not successful, don't work out, get fired, is because of the soft factors. It's not what people do, it's how they do it. The cost accountant we just talked about that's doing that budgeting and forecasting and the analysis, the inventories, rarely does that person get let go because he doesn't know how to do that.
Sure.
Usually gets let go because he can't work with the production manager.
Right.
Okay? Or maybe he doesn't, his accuracy's not there, he's not have that level of detail, his quality's not there. Or his coworkers and himself can't or herself can't get along together.
Sure.
So when you have that kind of a disparity between what causes people to fail, the soft factors, not what you do, but how you do it, you want to really bore in on that, and an assessment can do that. The interesting part is what happens conventionally in most companies. Where do people spend their time? What do interviewers look at? The technical factors. So it's an exact opposite of what it should be.
And again, that can be such a huge expense with turnover and things not working out and lost productivity.
Absolutely.
It reminds me of the sports analogy about team chemistry, and I assume what you're talking about can really contribute positively to team chemistry in looking at the soft factor and help the company be really more successful.
One of the companies I couldn't say it better. One of the companies I worked for, we went from like 40 employees to 350 employees. We used a specification with the soft factors, flexibility, communication skills, initiative, commitment, and we had like people, like personalities, like objectives that meant for a harmonious, high productive, high morale environment.
Wow, sounds like an ideal company.
It was. We were, that company was #1 on the small cap NASDAQ in 1996.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So it does work.
It works.
Okay, appreciate your time today, Frank. And if you have any other questions, please give us a call at 949-788-2998 or check out our website at www.bottomlineresultscorp.com. Thank you very much.